Hey, this is George Fourie. Welcome to the Martial Arts Media Business Podcast. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about 3 key steps that you need to master your next Facebook ad campaign. And I'm going to kick off with a bold statement. And the bold statement is most martial arts school owners are going about this dead wrong. Why do I know this? Well, first up, we look and we speak to a lot of school owners and look at a lot of ad accounts. But I can tell you that we don't even have to look at the ad accounts when we hear things like the latest iOS update has completely crushed our results, or our website is not bringing in leads anymore, or we used to have this strategy of running this ad and this retargeting ad and this doesn't work anymore, or everything used to work and now our ad costs have gone through the roof and it's not working anymore. All those things are really a key sign that it's not about Facebook itself, but it's actually about the strategy. So in this episode, I'm going to break down the entire strategy, how to go about it, what to avoid, what to optimize, what to look for, and outline a winning ad strategy that you can use. Winning to the point that we've refined it over the last 4, 5, 6 years, and we've seen more than 7,000 paid trials go through the system. So I'm going to share this with you today. Make sure that you hit subscribe wherever you're watching this video, or if you're listening to it, head over to your favorite podcast listening tool thingy and make sure you subscribe. And also, if you hang around to the end, I will share with you where you can get our latest ebook, which is a breakdown of much of what we're discussing here today, which is called The Ultimate Facebook Ad Formula for Martial Arts Schools. All right, let's jump in. All right, let's jump into 3 key steps to master your next Facebook ad campaign. So just for a little bit of context, this presentation and these slides that I'm going through right now comes from our partners group. Our partners program is our flagship program where we help school owners attract the right students, increase signups, and retain more members. And if you look at it from a model standpoint, this is pretty much what we work on a month-to-month basis. And what we're talking about right now, Facebook advertising falls in the top group there, which is called Activate Ads. All right, Activate Ads under Attract. All right, so let's jump in. So first up, what's the big problem that we're trying to solve here with Facebook ads and the big problems that we run into? Well, first up, I'm sure you know advertising is hard. No matter who says what, it's hard. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, right? It can be very inconsistent. And so sometimes it's hard and sometimes you think, well, hang on, I'm on top of this. And then somebody pulls the rug underneath your feet and it just stops working. And it can be hard to diagnose and figure out, all right, well, what's actually going on here? Why is this working and why not? Which can cause a lot of frustration. But the biggest impact, of course, that you get is you struggle to get the leads, and if you don't get the leads, you don't get the trials, you don't get the signups. So if we get this right with Facebook, first up, we can get the ads to flow easily. So it becomes a bit of a timing thing, right? The right offer at the right time in front of the right people. And if we know how to adapt our 4-step formula that works in between those timeframes, in between those segments, then we're off to a good start. If we can do that, ads will keep on working. Most importantly, we know what to measure and improve. You want to be building up a big library of winning ad campaigns. And this is how it really becomes easier. Some of our best clients that always used to ask all the questions in the group about Facebook ads now almost asks nothing because, hey, they've just got it mastered and they've built up this library of winning ad campaigns. And best of all, you get it right. Obviously, you get the leads and you get the signups. So I'm going to jump into 3 key concepts to win at your next ad campaign. So first up, know your numbers. Now, I'm sure you've heard this thrown around a lot, right? Yeah, you got to know your numbers. And yeah, we all know we got to know our numbers. But what numbers are we really looking for? So first up, we want to know, what is a student actually worth? Because here's the metric that everyone focuses on that's the wrong metric. And that metric is cost per lead. Cost per lead. How much did it cost? What is the cost per click? Now, yep, it's important to try and reduce that, but it's not really the number that matters, right? Because if you were in real estate, for example, and you were paying per lead that you would be, most martial arts schools are paying, you would be winning. So, yep, we want to try and reduce that cost. But what really matters is, what is the return on investment? And I'll give a real simple example. I mean, if you had to walk into the casino and you found a slot machine, and every time you put $1 into that slot machine, it gave $2 back. How many dollars are you going to put into that slot machine? All of them, right? So that's the winning formula. Now, I mean, if you had to put $5 in and you got $10 out, well, how many dollars are you going to put in? All the $5 that you can get together. So you're not going to go back and say, oh, well, hang on, I really preferred to put $1 into the slot machine. No, you don't care, because you're getting $10 back. So what I'm really trying to reference to is, what is that number? What is the lifetime student value? Or at least, what is a student worth for you over the next year? Because if you know that every student that signs up is worth $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, then the cost per click starts getting a little more irrelevant. Now, obviously, you need to be concerned about that, because, if we're spending $1,000 to get a new student and a student's only worth $1,500, well, we're going to burn through cash flow quite fast, right? And something I learned from Mike Rhodes way long ago was to look at what is a student worth? What is a customer worth over the first 3 months? And then grabbing another tip from another gentleman I learned a lot from, Dean Jackson, stating, how much would you spend with a smile on your face to acquire a customer? So if you look at, let's say, all right, well, what is the student worth over the next 3 months? And then how much of that am I going to spend with a smile on my face to acquire a new customer, a new student in our case? Then what is that number? So if you're comfortable with that number, now we know, all right, well, I'm comfortable spending $50, $100, $150 to acquire a new student, and I will do that all day long. And that's the metric that you got to dial in. All right, let's move on. Number 2, your irresistible offer. What is an irresistible offer? Well, I've got a picture here of a fidget spinner. It's probably not ideal irresistible offer. Well, it was for a while, right? Because everybody wanted a fidget spinner. But what is an irresistible offer? Well, you want to think of your offer in the case with martial arts is, how do students get started with you? And what is a way that they can get started with you that's completely risk-free for them, and it's enticing enough for them to take the first step? So here's what the offer is not. The offer is not trying to sell the membership, especially not on Facebook, right? Not with this type of marketing. And I can dive deeper into how Facebook works as an interruption. But for now, we just got to focus on the fact that we want to put an enticing offer in front of people that gets them to take the first step. Now, the first step is not signing up for a 12-month membership, right? The first step is them seeing an offer, seeing something that's irresistible enough for them to go ahead and take the first step and put their hand up and say, all right, I'm keen to do this. Okay, I'm keen to do this, and let's go ahead and try this out, right? And I say try this out, I mean, we want people to start, but we want people to feel comfortable about taking that first step without the risk being on them. And risk might be, well, sign up for a 12-month membership to get started. I know nobody does that, but hey, you want to make it easy for them. So let's talk about offers. So what is better? Should we run a free trial or a paid trial? Now, in our experience, there's room for both. But when it comes to Facebook, paid trial typically works better. And I'll explain why. If we had to compare Facebook and Google, when somebody comes through Google, there's some intent, meaning they go to Google, they look for it, they search, and they've got some intent to actually, they're interested, right? They already have the interest. On Facebook, we can target really well, but we have to interrupt. So we got to interrupt people from their scrolling. People are sitting on their phone and they're looking through, and we got to put something in front of people that appears of great value. So, yep, we can grab their attention, and get them interested, but we've got to build desire with a specific ad offer. And that's where a good irresistible offer comes into play. So you need a good irresistible offer, and you need to establish some value. Now, it's very hard to establish value with something that's free, because what is a free trial? What does that mean? Like, what's the catch? Why is it free? But if you package something like with a uniform or a physical item like gloves, t-shirt, belt, etc., and they're paying X instead of XX, now they can see the value and it's much easier to make a decision. All right, so work on your offer and work on your paid trials. Now, these are examples. You might already be using a paid trial, but what could, if your paid trial is not working, then you got to dig a bit deeper, and it could be actually in the way that it's worded. So there's certain things that you got to avoid, and certain things you can say or not, and there's certain numbers that will work better than the others. Bit too much detail to get into right now, but pay attention to the way you deliver your paid trial. All right, let's move on. And number 3 is follow the formula. Follow the formula. So what is the ad formula to work with when creating ads? For us, we keep it super simple. We use the age-old AIDA formula, AIDA. If you've heard of it, great. Maybe you'll get some context. If you haven't heard of it, A is for attention, I is for interest, D is for desire, A is for action. So I'm going to break down exactly how we go about this, right? So A for attention is grabbing attention. So you want to call the people out that you're trying to have a conversation with. And that could be simply calling them out. San Diego mums, men of Sydney. So it's just telling the people who we are talking to that we are trying to talk to them. The next thing that will also, and this probably counts for more than anything, is the type of media that you use. So the type of image. Now, should you use images? Should you use videos? Well, in our case, I'd rather use an image. It's just much easier, and you've got to be really good at video to really make video work. And side note, all respect to all videographers, but most people that think they're really good at video are not, because they create a good video, but they don't have the sales knowledge and marketing knowledge to package it in the right way to grab the attention and build up the desire. That's attention. Interest. Interest is create a cool headline. How do you grab interest? Well, in our case, what we do is we create a benefit-driven headline. So how do we craft a benefit? Something that, what is the thing that they are going to get? Now, what you want to avoid here is not talk about what it is, but you want to talk about what they get. Two different things, right? What it is they get martial arts classes. What they get is the result that they get from martial arts classes. So this is where we want to talk about more of the end result, the benefit, the desire that they're going to get from this. Let's talk about desire. How do we go about desire? Because we've managed to craft the offers in such a irresistible way, we tend to find that in the desire section, we just create we just insert our irresistible offer right there. And if we've grabbed their attention and built up their interest with a powerful a benefit-driven headline, then that's normally enough for them to say, all right, I want to try this out. And this is where we insert our irresistible offer. And then last but not least is the call to action. So what do they need to do to get this? And this is where most school owners fall flat. Reason why? They will send the person to a website. The worst thing you can possibly do is just send them to your homepage website. Because imagine you've just spoken about this awesome offer and everything, and now they click on a link, and when they click on it, it's nothing relevant to what was just spoken about. So they lost, and immediately they leave, right? And they bounce, and away they go. The other is to send them to a landing page. Now, this is where everybody feels and thinks that they have to have the best landing page. Well, got news for you. If you're struggling with Facebook right now, Facebook doesn't want you to leave Facebook. So actually sending people to a landing page could be really, really hard to do. So unless you're super experienced and you're testing it and your landing page was specifically created for that specific offer, I would not recommend going about this. I would do one of two things. One would be create a lead ad, which is internal with Facebook. Or number two is send people directly to Messenger. And by doing this, people stay on Facebook, they stay in the framework, and now you can follow up in that way. And if you do something like in our partners group, we have the Messenger sign-up method. It takes your prospects from being curious to serious, and then we sign them up. Then that's something that can really work for you. And it's really scalable as well. All right, and that's it. That are the 3 key steps. So quickly, as a recap, number 1, know your numbers. What are the key numbers you got to pay attention to? Well, first up, what is your student worth over the next 12 months or for the lifetime, your lifetime student value? And how much are you comfortable spending of that? Like, what are you comfortable to spend with a smile on your face to acquire your student? So paying attention to that rather than what are you paying per click. Number 2 is your irresistible martial arts offer. So what type of offer are you using? If you are generating your ads from Facebook, highly recommend you look at a paid trial offer, and then make sure that your paid trial offer is worded the right way, worded using the right numbers, and making sure that when somebody looks at the offer, that it automatically screams of value. And what I mean by that is they look at it and it's a no-brainer for them to not go ahead with it. And then number 3, follow the formula. So the formula being AIDA, which is the formula we follow: A for attention, I for interest, D for desire, and A for action. All right, and that's it. Now, if you do want a copy of our latest ebook, The Ultimate Facebook Ad Formula for Martial Arts Schools, then head over to the podcast episode on martialartsmedia.com, and you'll find it at martialartsmedia.com/123. We're just lucky that this episode is number 123, right? So martialartsmedia.com/the numbers 123, not the words written out, just the numbers 123. And there'll be a button there, all the show notes will be there, plus a transcript, and you'll be able to download the Ultimate Facebook Ad Formula for Martial Arts Schools. And if you need some help with your Facebook ads and you want to learn more how we can help you, or maybe you need someone, you just need a second set of eyes to have a look at your ad account and your ads, then reach out to us. Best way to do that is go to martialartsmedia.com/scale. So SCALE, martialartsmedia.com/scale. There's a little questionnaire, a couple of steps with a few questions for us to better understand where you're at with your business, what you need help with, and then that will go through to another screen where we can book in a time to chat and go from there. All right, thanks so much. I hope this episode was helpful. And if you're struggling with ads, I just want to confirm on this. Do take this formula seriously, because we work with this formula. Obviously, there's layers and details on it, but this formula, it's not our formula, it's a proven formula. We've just refined it for martial arts schools, and like I've said, we've seen more than 7,000 paid trials go through the system for schools of all sizes, schools that are just starting out, pushing 100 students, schools that have got multiple thousands of students, and the formula just works. If you need any help, let us know, and otherwise, thanks a lot for listening, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode. Cheers.